When Pastor Mike asked me if I would provide one of the Lenten messages on wilderness journeys, I briefly hesitated, then agreed. As my husband would say, "Now what have you gotten yourself into?" More about John later. In reflecting on the Mark 1 text and thinking of how I can identify with wandering in the desert for 40 years, I realize that my own life has been truly blessed. Yes, this last year has been especially difficult, but I realize that I have been walking in and out of deserts all my life, not even thinking of them as deserts, just life moments. Moments when I have questioned God's presence in my life. Moments that probably happen to each and every one of us. When I was a buck-toothed, four-eyed, braces-wielding preteen, I was exposed to many cases of bullying by classmates. I'm not sure at that point in my life I thought too much about where God was, but luckily, my parents and true friends were available to help ease my hurt feelings. Were they my angels? I suppose so. Our children and grandchildren have been blessings from God, but along with them have come more little deserts to cross. Their illnesses, school problems, heartbreaks, and so forth. So many times in rearing our children, I have needed to walk out into the backyard, look to the heavens, and utter the phrase, "They're all yours, God. I can't do anything more with them." Throughout that stage of our lives, close friends and members of this St. James family have been angels for us, as well as for our children and grandchildren. They shared our struggles, they shared our joys. Loss of grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins were also desert-like periods for me. As with many, I believe the loss of parents after months and years of caregiving through their illnesses and death was a much wider desert to cross, as was the desert I watched my sister walk through as her husband battled the debilitating effects of untreated Lyme disease. During struggles like these, medical personnel, clergy, family, and friends became angels to my family. Psalm 46 has always been a comfort to me in times of struggle. I'll share parts of it as I continue. It begins, "God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble." As we have heard the beautiful messages shared during this Lenten season, from loss of parents, through disorder at work due to the pandemic, illnesses, school closings, and Adam's message to fall back into hope, I'll share our pandemic desert with you. Continuing in Psalm 46, "Though the mountains shake in the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble with its tumult, the nations are in an uproar, the kingdoms totter." As many of you know, I have been a lifelong educator, and with that position seems to come the idea, right or wrong, that I am in control of everything. John is always saying to me, "Slow down, Judy. Watch where you are going. Take your time. Do you have to do that now? Can't you just sit still?" And my favorite, "Do you need help with that?" "No, I've got it." Well, I certainly didn't have any kind of control in 2020. Last year, on February 9th, my husband had chills, a fever of 104, low blood pressure, memory loss, slurred words, and so forth. At the hospital ER, he could not stand. We were all thinking stroke. COVID-19 had just come into the forefront of news reports, so that possibility was in the back of our minds. Doctors poked and prodded, tested and retested, x-rayed and CAT scanned, all to no avail. John's white blood count was elevated, so a broad-spectrum antibiotic was administered. He was placed in isolation. As the evening and next day wore on, a stroke and COVID-19 were ruled out. Later that evening, a small red spot appeared on the top of his left hand from a tiny scratch that had not been noticed until then. As we watched that hand over the next few hours, it swelled to twice its size and became as red as a lobster claw. An infectious disease doctor was zoomed in from Colorado. It was finally discovered that John had a Group A streptococcal blood infection, which resulted in sepsis. Now that the cause was known, effective treatment could begin. Had we waited much longer to get treatment, death would have resulted. Continuing in Psalm 46, "Come, behold the works of the Lord. He makes wars cease. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns shields with fire. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge." Prayer buddies, doctors, nurses, hospital administrators, our pastors, family, and friends were all the angels who walked and prayed with us on John's road to full recovery. God was with us every step of the way through these angels. So now for the good part. While I continued to think about where we as a nation and global community were headed, still fearful for my children's and grandchildren's health, worrying about how children in general would fare with schools shut down, all stuff over which I had no control, my favorite Bible verse came to mind. Verse 10 in Psalm 46, "Be still and know that I am God." COVID-19 isolation, with all its fears and uncertainties, actually brought a sense of quiet and calm to my life, stillness. I gradually noticed that the songs of the birds became louder and clearer. The air seemed fresher and cleaner. Skies were bluer. Quietness surrounded me outdoors due to limited traffic. Zoom times with close family were treasured as we checked in on each other. Also, I found time to focus on prayer and study of God's Word through Pastor Mike's and Pastor Andrew's Zoom Bible studies, as well as my Sunday school Zoom class. Through them, I have increased my circle of friends and deepened my faith in God. And I realized that we will walk out of this desert whole and blessed. These were the angels that touched my life throughout the years during my wilderness journeys. Please take time to notice all the angels in your life and remember to thank God for each and every one of them.